Hello and welcome back. Now, after we have made all the assets ready, now it is time to apply the logic, and this time we are going to do it from scratch. So the very first thing what you have to do is you have to write down a document or write a flowchart about what all should happen when in the game a user performs a task. So to begin with, the very first thing that should happen is you need a trigger to start the game. That is, the user has to perform some action for the game to start. Say for example, in a mobile, the best user interface can be the tap. So as soon as he taps his phone, the game is going to get triggered and it starts. Now what should be the very first action that should happen? As soon as you tap, the runner or the skater has to start running. So if he wants to start to run, what I need is the background should get animated, a looped animation where it is running from right to left, and this animation is the first thing that should happen. And the second thing is, when he is running, then the obstacles also should come from right to left, so that the actual player is running from left to right, the obstacle comes from right to left. And this is the second logic we have to apply. And the third logic is, when the user blinks his eye, then the skater has to jump. What is the meaning of jumping? Jumping means the skater who is along the y-axis at some level should move up and come down. So this action should happen when he blinks his eye. So let us concentrate on these three logics in this session. So let us get started. In Metaspark Studio, if the project is already closed, click on open, and we had actually saved the file. So if you come to the folder where you had done you had saved it, we had saved it as blank race version 2. So select this file and click open, and as soon as we open this project, wait for the project to get opened. Now as soon as this project is opened, go to file and choose save as, and let us save this now as version 3. So this action, always remember to do it. So we are now saving the third version of this game, and in this game the basic some changes that we require now is, in the game element we had added your score and score. Here I am going to, we had actually created 3 canvases and we had put our score and your score in game element canvas. Now what I am going to do is, in face tracker I will right click add object, and I am going to add another canvas, and this canvas I am going to call it as score, S-C-O-R-E, and I will open game element, and here you have your score and score. So I will select this second score and change it as score text. I will select your score and score text. I will drag it and make it the part of this canvas score. So actually what we did was, in game element the 2 elements your score and score text has been grouped under the canvas score. So remember, in our last session we used null object to group things, and here we are using canvas to group things. So these two are present inside the score, and the next thing I want to do is, you have the game over right now, and one thing is, when I am choosing this score, on the white background this yellow score is not appearing clearly. So what I am going to do is I will click on the color and I will replace it with some other color. Say for example, I use a dark green color like this, and even for score text I select it and I select a dark green color like this, so that it is clearly visible on the game over screen. So this is the second change I did in this session. The first change is created the score canvas and grouped your score and score text into this, and second is I changed the color, and third thing is now we are seeing my face is not visible at all. See my face, you cannot, in between it flickers, but you are not able to see because this game over is already on. I want this to be on only when the game is over. So for this purpose I will select this game over canvas, and in the game over property I will, you see the visibility here, I will switch off the visibility. So now in the beginning of the game this is hidden, so that now I can work on the logic correctly. Now after this, the very first job I want to start is by animating this background, and this background animation, when it should start, when the user performs a particular task. And to first of all, to do all this coding, as I had told in the last class, we are going to use patch editor. So I will maximize this screen. I will come over here to the workplace and click on show patch editor. So when I click on show patch editor, you are seeing the patch editor here, and in this patch editor the very first patch I am going to add now here is, you have the add patch button here. I will click here, and the first patch that I require is the user interaction. The user is now going to tap the screen to start the game. So for this I am going to select, I just type tap here, and you can see you have the screen tap component. I will select the screen tap component and click on add patch. So now this screen tap component is added to your screen. So after adding this screen tap, just like last time, screen tap will always be followed by add patch, one switch which determines whether you have tapped or not. So for this we are going to use a switch and we are going to click add patch. Now you have the switch tab. Now in the previous case we had connected screen tap to turn on, but in this case I will just disconnect it and I am going to connect this to flip. Flip means, now what happens is, I will again drag it and set it. Whenever I tap, if the game is running, it should stop. If the game has stopped, it should start running. So it should work like a toggle switch. And for this toggle switch, if I am using this as a toggle switch, then I need another component here, and for that I will come to add patch, and the component I am going to use is value. Type value. Value is just a kind of variable. So I will click add patch now. So I will add this value patch. Now in this value patch I will collect this switch to the value patch, and when I connect it to this value patch, remember when you select every component here, below the component there is one setting tab and also some options available. Now for example, in the value here what should happen when he taps, the result should be either he has tapped or not. Means this we call it as a boolean. Boolean means it has only two values, true or false, 0 or 1. So, if he has tapped, yes, if he has not tapped, false. So, this kind of value is called as a Boolean value. We call it as a Boolean variable, and for Boolean, in value in the, on this number, if you click, you have various kind of values present here, and in this I am going to choose the Boolean. So, when I choose the Boolean, when this value is true, then this is going to trigger the next action. What is the next action that should start? I want this background to start moving. It should start getting animated. Now, for this animation, now here what I have to now do is I have to add another patch now. I will click on add patch here, and I am going to add loop animation, because it should loop continuously. This is the next component I am going to add, loop animation. I will click add patch. So, this value will be connected to this loop animation, and I will connect it to loop enabled here. And second thing is, when you are working on this, you can also change the name of this component. For example, I have given here the name as value. I can double click on this value and I will change this name to play. This means that the play will start or stop from this component, and this is going to trigger our entire game. And the very first action I am connecting from play is a loop animation, and in this loop animation, what should get looped? I want a particular object on my screen to move. So, for this, what is the object that I have to move? It is the BG1, that is the background. But how are you going to move it? You need some kind of animation to happen. Animation means initially this is at one point, and after some time it reaches another point. And for this kind of animation, the component we are going to use is called as transition. This is a component we use in Spark AR Studio. So, I will now come to add patch, and here I am going to now type transition, and I am going to add this patch. I will select transition and I will click patch, this add patch. Now, in this transition patch, you have progress, you have start, and you have end. I will connect the output of this in progress to this progress. Okay, so this has been connected. Now, the next thing is, here you have two values, start value and the end value. Means, say for example, I want to animate BG1. So, I will come now into the background, open the background canvas, select BG1, and this BG1 initial position, see, x value is 200. I will copy this value and put it in the start as x value. Okay. And I will select the second value is y. I will copy this value and put it, copy it and Control V, paste it in the y section, and in the z it is set to 0, z we have 0, and here also it is set to 0. So, now what I have done, I have set the initial position of this BG1 to x, y and z of the value of the initial position of this start. We have set this as the start position. Start position is the initial position of this BG1 component. Now, what should happen is, it should move, and when it is move or getting animated, I doesn't want to move along the z axis at all. So, what I will do is, I will copy the z axis value and paste it in z here, so that both the values are same. And also in y I will copy it and paste it, so that the end y values are same, so that this background should not move in y axis up and down, it should only move left to right. And now here in the end I am going to type a value. Say for example, I set this value to 800. Okay. How I selected 800? See, I have another BG2 which we have set its initial position at 1000. It is 1000 and already we have 250 units inside. So, what I will do is I will set its end value to say for example 750 now. Okay. And now if I actually trigger, how to check it? Just like last time, now in the simulator I will click on this icon and change it to simulate touch, and now if I tap the screen, see this movement should start. No movement is starting. Why? We have set all the values. Understand the logic now. To whom it should apply? We have applied the logic, we have applied the loop animation, we have applied the transition, but we haven't told the software which object should get animated. So, I have to now select BG1 and I have to click on the arrow next to position and take this position, add the position here. Now, I will drag this and connect it to BG1. Now, you can see it is moving, but only thing is it is moving in the wrong direction. See, it should not move like this. So, I will set its end position instead of 17, I have to set it for minus value. So, I will set it to minus 600 and see. See, now it is moving fine. So, you are seeing it, it is starting from, and we are having this BG1 getting animated. You are having the BG1 moving from right to left. So, this is the first animation we have created in this sequence. So, now our first animation is ready. So, with this first animation ready, now I will go to file and choose save to save this animation. So, if I tap it, see the animation stops. If I again tap it, it starts moving, because we have added the screen tap as a switch and have added a boolean value for it. So, I can control it. If I click, it will stop. If I click again, it will continue. So, this is the first logic we have applied, and we have, as soon as the user taps the screen, some object on the screen is getting animated. So, this we have done it in this session, and in our next session we are going to add only one BG1 is moving. I have to move another BG2 also, and also I have to move the obstacle. So, these two things we are going to do it in our next session. Thank you.